The acrid smell of burning circuits filled the air as Kivan stepped into the lobby of Nexus Corporation's gleaming tower. His maintenance uniform marked him as invisible among the sea of tailored suits rushing past. He was there to fix a faulty environmental control system, routine work for a single father trying to make ends meet. Then the explosion shattered the morning calm. The blast originated from Elevator 7, sending a shockwave through the marble floors. Flames erupted from the shaft and black smoke billowed toward the vaulted ceiling. Executives scattered like startled birds, their panic filling the space with screams and the thunder of running feet. Kivan's instincts kicked in. Through the smoke he heard it, a child's voice, high and terrified, calling for help from inside the burning elevator. Without hesitation he sprinted toward the inferno. The heat hit him like a physical wall, but he didn't stop. The elevator doors had jammed half open, flames licking around the edges. Inside, a girl no older than 7 stood frozen, her pink dress smudged with soot, tears streaming down her face. "I've got you," Kivan shouted over the roar of the fire. The metal doors were scorching hot. He knew what touching them would do, but the alternative was unthinkable. His daughter's face flashed in his mind. What if someone didn't help her when she needed it? Gritting his teeth, Kivan grabbed the burning doors with both hands and pulled. Pain exploded through his palms and fingers. The smell of his own burning flesh mingled with the smoke, but he didn't let go. Muscles straining, he forced the doors apart just wide enough to reach through. The girl, Hyal, he would later learn, stood paralyzed with fear. "Come here, sweetheart. I need you to be brave," he said, his voice steady despite the agony radiating up his arms. Hyal's wide eyes met his, and something in his calm demeanor cut through her terror. She stumbled forward and Kivan grabbed her with his ruined hands, pulling her from the elevator just as another explosion sent flames shooting into the lobby. He shielded her body with his own as they tumbled away from the blast. Security and emergency teams rushed in moments later. Medics swarmed Kivan, trying to treat his hands. But he refused until Hyal was checked and reunited with her frantic father. Arcturus Chen, CEO of Nexus Corporation and one of the most powerful humans in the outer colonies. Chen's face was ashen as he held his daughter, his composure shattered. His eyes found Kivan, who sat against a wall, hands wrapped in emergency cooling gel, trembling from shock and pain. "You saved her," Chen said, his voice breaking. "You saved Hyal," Kivan managed a weak smile. "Just doing what anyone would do." "Not anyone," Chen replied. "Most people ran." The medics insisted on taking Kivan to the hospital. 2nd and 3rd-degree burns covered both hands. The doctor said he might never regain full function. For a maintenance worker who relied on his hands to support his daughter, it was a devastating prognosis. Days passed in a blur of pain medication and grafting procedures. Kivan's small apartment felt emptier than usual. His daughter stayed with his sister while he recovered, and the medical bills piled up like accusations. His employer had placed him on unpaid leave until he could return to full duty. That's when everything changed. A message arrived on his datapad from Nexus Corporation. Kivan almost deleted it, assuming it was a legal waiver or standard corporate acknowledgement. Instead, it was a personal note from Arcturus Chen, requesting a meeting. The following day, a private transport arrived at Kivan's building. He protested, embarrassed by his shabby appearance and bandaged hands, but the driver insisted Mr. Chen was expecting him. Chen's private office occupied the entire top floor of the tower, the same tower where Kivan had pulled Hyal from the flames. The CEO stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, Hyal beside him, drawing pictures with colored markers. "Mr. Kivan," Hale shouted, abandoning her artwork to run toward him. She stopped just before hugging him, carefully eyeing his bandaged hands. "Does it hurt?" "A little less every day," Kivan said gently. Chen approached, extending his hand before remembering Kivan's injuries. He dropped it awkwardly. "Thank you for coming. I know you're still recovering." "I don't understand why I'm here," Kivan admitted. Chen gestured to a seat. "Because I've spent the last 3 days trying to figure out how to properly thank the man who gave up his hands to save my daughter's life. I've learned a lot about you, Kivan. Single father, working 3 jobs before your injury. Daughter's scholarship depends on grades you help her achieve despite working 18-hour days." Kivan shifted uncomfortably. "I don't need charity, Mr. Chen." "It's not charity," Chen said firmly. "Humans have always been at our best when we protect each other, when we sacrifice for strangers because it's the right thing to do. The galaxy sees humans as aggressive, reckless. But I see something different. I see people like you. He slid a datapad across the desk. Kevin stared at the document displayed on the screen. Full medical coverage for your treatment, including the experimental nerve regeneration therapy that will restore your hands completely, Chen began. A position as Nexus Corporation's Director of Safety and Emergency Response. You clearly know how to handle a crisis. Your daughter receives a full scholarship to the academy of her choice, with living expenses included. And this. Chen opened another file, a deed to a home in the residential quarter, the kind of place Kevin had only seen in advertisements. I can't accept this, Kevin whispered, overwhelmed. Hyle climbed onto the chair beside him. Papa says you're a hero. Heroes deserve good things. Chen's expression softened. My daughter is everything to me. You didn't hesitate. You didn't calculate the cost. You just acted because a child needed help. That's the kind of person I want leading safety protocols across all Nexus facilities. That's the kind of person I want my daughter to remember. Someone who showed her that humans don't abandon each other, even when it costs everything. Tears burned in Kevin's eyes. For so long he'd carried the weight alone, convinced that sacrifice was just what parents did, quietly, thanklessly, endlessly. I didn't do it for a reward, he said softly. I know, Chen replied. That's exactly why you deserve one. Hayal took Kevin's bandaged hand carefully in hers. Thank you for saving me. Kevin looked at this small girl, then at her father, then at the life-changing documents before him. Sometimes humanity's greatest strength wasn't in weapons or technology. It was in the simple, profound act of one person deciding that another person's life mattered more than their own safety. When do I start? Kevin asked, his voice steady with new purpose. Chen smiled. As soon as your hands heal. We'll wait as long as it takes. Outside the windows, the city sprawled beneath them, millions of humans building lives in the unforgiving expanse of space, each one carrying their own struggles, their own sacrifices. But today at least one of them had been seen. And that made all the difference.